Well, it's time for the playoff push. You better flex your muscles. Live from the west side of Wilson County, this is SmackTalk. Well, I want to welcome everybody to this week's edition of SmackTalk. I am your host, Johnny the Outback Stardust. And so I think we got a lot of good things going on this week. Scoring's kind of been down and people are all upset. Man, there's trades going everywhere. In case you didn't know it, November 11th is the trade deadline for our league, and that means that you better get your trades out there and get it all finalized before that deadline. Now, because of that deadline, we got a lot of trades going on out there. Let me tell you, the Smackatees get a trade from Johnny, the coach of the Soggy Bottom Boys, at least once a day. Let me say something, Johnny. It ain't gonna happen. I know you covet all my players and you want them all, but I'm gonna tell you, I've got to keep my prime players, so you can stop sending me them trade requests. Now, there's a couple of other trade requests that have gone out there that I just went, what are you doing? And so it's kind of interesting because it may have happened for the first time this year. I'm not real sure. But we actually had a trade vetoed the other night. And so I think it's funny because it happened to old Coach Bruce. And let me tell you, I've seen Coach Bruce. He's a little upset. And I thought it was funny. The more I looked at it and the more I thought about it, it is just downright comical that the whole league said, ain't gonna happen. So I did notice again, though, that trade is back on the board. I don't know if he thinks we'd have a change of heart or what it is, but Coach Bruce, your team is already good. You are leading the Central Division, and that is a big feat. But let me tell you, we don't want to have to play you no more than we have to, and so I can consider to see those trades are going to continue to be vetoed. So don't cry about it. Don't get all pouty about it. Let's just be men about it and move on and keep playing Kurt Warner. Go ahead and do it. You not going to get my friend and pal, Brett Favre. All right. Now, there's a couple things. I'm not going to continue talking from this point forward about the Central Division and the division rivals because now we are making a push for the playoffs, and I settled all of that garbage talk about the divisions last week. I've heard enough, don't want to even talk about it anymore. So now, this is the push for the playoffs, and so what I've done is kind of put up here in a little box the people I think that have the best chance as of right now to make the playoffs. And so as you will see, Coach Bruce is at the top, followed by the Soggy Bottom Boys. They both got the best records, and they're going to be there. Then we're going to have the Moes. I don't know how that team wins, but for some reason, they continue to win. And then we got the Midgets, my personal pick. He's had some issues here lately, but he is my personal pick. Now, we've got the Dogs. Now, let me say, the Dogs, I don't get this team. And for that reason, they'll score high, but sometimes they just lose to bad teams. So, I'm telling you, the Dogs have the highest scoring team, but man, they are just not coached very well. And I think that's what might bring them down, and it might actually cost them a spot in the playoffs. Then there's a couple of teams that I can tell you as of today are in the playoffs but will not be in the playoffs towards the end. And that is the Cheese and the Mean Machine. Those two teams, one of them might make it, but those two teams are just awful. And how they have made it this far, well, I know how. They haven't played the Central Division is how. Well, I have them in the bottom with one more spot going to my beloved Smack-a-Tees. My Tees are better than some of those rebuilding years that have a better record, but I think Jeff Postel, Coach Postel, and his Postel rankings, power rankings this week, I think he finally got it right. And he's got my Smackers about middle of the road where they need to be, and I think everybody else is where they need to be. Now, I know I'm going to hear some whining, and I'm going to hear some crying about what I'm saying here, but mark my word, the Smack-a-Tees will make it into the playoffs. And all you lower teams, they've got to go through these final Central Division opponents. Y'all are going down. So, let me tell you, we're pushing for the playoffs. We're going hard. It's time that coaches, you just can't get your feelings hurt. It's going to get brutal. The smack talk might increase. You've got to just let it go, keep coaching, keep bringing it on, and hey, let the smack flow.